What's going on, golf addicts? Welcome to TJ After Dark, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook. We are the Tour Junkies. I'm David Barnett. I got Pat Perry with me. It's the Rocket Mortgage Classic 2021 from Detroit Golf Club. It's only the third year we've seen this golf tournament played out at Detroit Golf Club. Myself and Pat, it's late on a Monday night. We're recording the show. We just got into a knockdown drag-out fight on our own betting show, which you can go watch. Pat just completely pitches a fit and screams and yells and just irrationally argues and calls out people in the chat. Just goes haywire. But here we are. It's what happens with Tour Junkies After Dark. And we all just have to bow to Pat because he's on such the heater right now that we can't ignore him. Honestly, we just have to listen to him. I'm going to let Pat start, everything tonight. We're going to get into our picks here for the Rocket Mortgage. But before we do that, wise one, please anoint us with your wisdom in terms of how Detroit Golf Club may play, what is important here, and what people should know before we get into our picks.
Yes, so we are at Detroit Golf Club this week. It is a par 72 playing 7,370 yards. We got 156 players in the event this week. T65 and ties will make the cut. Bent grass from tee to green, really, with a little POA mixed in there. You've got 4 par 5s this week, as we typically have on par 72 golf courses. 3 are probably reachable, and then you've got one that's probably not so much reachable as a 634-yard par 5. But it's a classic Donald Ross design, tree-lined fairways, several dog legs on this course. But the fairways here aren't that difficult to hit. You see a guy like Bryson, who won last year at 23 under, just bombing all over the place. So there's a lot of lines that you can cut off the tee. The back nine tends to play a little more open than the front line, which is a little tighter off the tee. But once they get to the back nine, they can really just bomb it all over the place. Birdies are going to be in bunches this week. So I'm looking at guys who are definitely checking boxes in birdie or better percentage, guys who are good ball strikers who are checking the box in par 5 scoring, and also strokes gained approach play, which I think is going to be very important, including strokes gained off the tee. I mentioned Bryson won here last year at 23 under. The first year they played at Detroit Golf Club, Nate Lashley, who came in off of a Monday qualifier, won this golf tournament at 26 under. So he scored a lot too. That is, if you're not used to scoring in PGA Tour events, 23 under and 26 under is a lot. So we should see a lot of scoring this week. So there you go.
Yeah, and right now, as of Monday night, the books have the winning total number at over or under minus 23.5. So definitely looking at a lot of birdies to be made. I think the golf course is going to be pretty soft. There's been a lot of rain in the area. These guys are going to be able to go flag hunting. And, just get after it. Nate Lashley wins as a Monday qualifier. He was like 350 to 1, 450 to 1 that week that he won. It was insane. Changed his whole life, really. Good for him. He's not done much since, but changed his life. And then Bryson comes up here and, wins at 7.5 to 1. We were saying this on the last show. Like, literally, you can't have a wider gap. You had the favorite win last year, literally the betting favorite in Bryson at 7.5 to 1. And the year before that, you had Nate Lashley, the Monday qualifier, who didn't even show up on some sports books. Pretty insane. And with a birdie fest like this, you could get a lot of different types of winners and guys pop here. You could be long off the tee and just bomb it at cut corners, be in the rough and not care like Bryson or Matt Wolff did last year. Or you could be a Nate Lashley type, just hit your fairways, hit your greens, and get hot with the putter. That's definitely something that can happen. Let's get into this, Pat. Looking at the shorter range on DraftKings Sportsbook, you gave us Harris English last week at 50 to 1. You're on your heater. Go ahead and tell us how the card's going to start looking, especially here in this shorter range.
2 guys here that I really like, and that it will start with Hideki Matsuyama at 19 to 1. And then I'm loving Will Zalatoris at 26.5 to 1. Those are my two favorite plays on the shorter end. The guy I'm avoiding is actually Webb Simpson at 19-1, also just like Hideki. I don't think Webb's a good play this week, but I do like Hideki and I do like Willie Z. I think this could be his time to get his first tour victory. So those are my two favorite guys on the shorter end this week.
Okay. I'm not sure about Willie Z. I mean, I'd like to see it happen, I guess. I don't have a read on him yet as of Monday, but I do have a read on Jason Kokrak. I'm buying Jason Kokrak at 30-1 on DraftKings Sportsbook as of now. He's shorter in other books, so you're getting a good value there on DK Sportsbook. I think he pulled the trigger. He missed a cut at the U.S. Open, but that's not something that I really weigh heavily here. The U.S. Open's a very tough course. He has very limited experience in major championships. And when you get a tough course like that, like weird stuff happens, right? His irons and ball striking still wasn't bad. He just didn't get up and down a lot, which is not what he typically does well anyway, but he's a great ball striker. He hits a lot of greens in regulation. He's a 2-time winner now this season. Is he going to win 2 out of his last 3 events because he just won the Charles Schwab? Probably not. But at 30-1, I do think there's some value there. And I think his length here, and I think his ball striking here, and his improved putting is definitely worth a look when I look at that shorter number. I don't really like a lot. I do like your Hideki play. I would say Kokrak and Hideki for me were the two guys I kind of had circled here. Hideki's irons continue to be really solid. He's a good Donald Ross player. This is a Donald Ross golf course, a lot like Eastlake, which Hideki's played well on. I think this is a really good spot for Hideki. So I'm with you on Hideki, and then I'll add Kokrak. That's it for me. So as we kind of work down the betting board here, more in the mid-range, start giving me some names here that you like.
Well, in the mid-range, I will start with Charlie Hoffman. He is a guy that we have seen play incredibly well recently, especially you look at his ball striking, his strokes gained approach play. Another good course fit for him. He is at 35-1. I like that. And then another guy I like in here a little bit longer at 55-1 is Gary Woodland, another guy that's been striking his ball incredibly well lately. We know he's a proven winner on tour. He's a proven major winner on tour. So I think Gary Woodland, this could be a good week for him at 55-1. I like that number also. And I think, outside before we get into some longer odds, those are my two favorites there.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way the betting card is going to be structured this week is very few shorter numbers, and then it's like bombs, like just total long shots. It's not a strong field. I mean, when you look at the top of the betting board, other than Bryson, obviously Patrick Reed's been playing well. He's definitely one that I think could contend here. We talked about Hideki. Webb Simpson, I think, is not going to happen. So, I mean, by the time you land on a few shorter names here, you really don't see much of a difference between the guys at 70-1 and the guys at 100-1. So I think my card is going to look very much like, some Kokrak, some Hideki, and then we're going to get into some bombs. But I do like one name here at 55-1, and that's Doc Redman, the young guy out of Clemson. He kind of went through a little bit of a slump here earlier this year. He's come out of it. The irons have come back around. He's been one of the hotter iron players in this field over the last few rounds. Most recently finished runner-up at the Palmetto. Didn't play great last week at the Travelers, but I think this is a better course for Doc Redman. He's played here great. He has a runner-up finish here in 2019, his first look at it at Detroit Golf Club and a T21 last year. So I think Redman at 55-1 is interesting. I don't know that I would go and bet Doc Redman shorter than that number. If he gets much shorter, I think I'd probably stay away. But there you go. All right, Pat. So getting in, I don't have anybody else until we get into the triple-digit numbers. So getting into those long shots, triple digits, what do you like?
All right, a few guys for me that I really like this week. I'll start with Lucas Glover at 100-1. God, wish he would win a daggum golf tournament. For as good as a ball striker he is, it's just his putting is always key for him. I mean, look, he's a fantastic ball striker. Great on approach. He'll hit a green and be within 10 feet, and then he'll miss the birdie putt, or within 6 feet, miss the birdie putt, whatever. But still, I like some Lucas Glover there at 100-1. And right next to him, Mark Hubbard at 100-1 also. I think Mark Hubbard, I don't see any first-round leader bets, but I think he could be a first-round leader bet if you're looking at those odds later in the week, depending on where he's teeing off. He's a scorer. And
he can get high with the putter. Talking about opposite of Lucas Glover. Very high.
I like him there. Also, Chez Reavie is another guy at
Hmm.
100 to 1. Another, I think, this is a good course fit for him. I like him on at Detroit Golf Club. And then a couple others that I'll add. Hank Lebiota, we've seen play really well lately. He is at 110 to 1. And one more for you. I'm going to go with our boy. I know we don't like to take him after a little bit of a break, but I mentioned him on the show. And I think Joel Damon at 141 is still worth a shot at. If you don't want to play him as a winner, then maybe top 10 at 7 to 1. But I do like some Joel Damon this week.
I really like your Chez Reavie play. I actually had his name written down here. So we're both on Chez at 100 to 1. He's been playing well. This feels like a good Chez Reavie course. We didn't talk about it in detail, but I think this course is going to play a little shorter than it looks on the card. A lot of the par fours are actually shorter. A lot of the teeth in this golf course comes from those par fives. But I think Chez could play well here at 100 to 1. I like that call. And I like the Lebiota call. I like the Hank Lebiota call. I probably prefer him as a top 20, top 10 market. He's been playing pretty well. But I like that number too. I'll go with my boy Sepp Straka. We just saw Harris English win, University of Georgia Bulldog. Go Dogs. I mean, you're both dogs. Harris English is a Bulldog. Georgia Bulldogs golf program pumps out winners, and Sepp Straka is yet to win on the PGA Tour, but he's a boy dog, if you know what I'm saying. Hits it a mile, loves this golf course, has played this golf course very well with a T11 and a T8 in the 2 years that it's been here at Detroit Golf Club, and he finished T10 just last week at the Farmers after finding some irons. So I like Sepp Straka at 100 to 1. And then I'm going to get into some real bombs here. I mean, I like Kevin Chappell at 140 to 1. Chappell is an experienced tour player who lost status due to medical issues, so he's on a medical exemption. He's picking his spots, playing the courses that I think he feels good about. I think this is one of them, and he's playing well. He's a good ball striker. Chappell knows how to win. He knows how to close the door if he gets in contention on the weekend. So 140 to 1 for Kevin Chappell, I like. And then I can't avoid Cam Davis, the Australian long-hitting Australian Cam Davis at 160 to 1. He was playing a lot better earlier in 2021. It's kind of tailed off for him here lately, but he's been in the hunt a couple times. And I think Cam Davis can close the door. He can feast on these par fives. I love him at 160 to 1. That's a huge number. And speaking of Cam Davis and a few other top 20s, he is 5 to 1 as a top 20. I think Cam Davis as a top 20 is a pretty good feeling there. I mean, when he gets these par fives, he's going to, and these shorter par, I mean, he's just such a long hitter. He's going to do what Bryson does. He's going to cut corners. He's going to hit it a mile, and he's just going to try to feast on these par fives. So I like that. I also like Danny Lee at 4 to 1 as a top 20 as we work down the board. Him and Hank Lebiota are both 4 to 1 as top 20s. We both, I know you kind of like Danny Lee too. He's kind of down on some form. He's a PGA Tour winner. It was back in 2015 when DraftKings first started having golf. But Danny Lee is one that if you're looking at a long shot top 20, I think is interesting. Sepp Straka, who I mentioned earlier, is plus 335 as a top 20. Chez Reavie, who we both mentioned, is also plus 335 as a top 20. So there's a few long shot top 20s that I threw out there as well. You got anything else to add there?
No, I think that's it. I think those are good ones. I like them.
Yeah. Long shots only. I mean, the Rocket Mortgage, listen, if you're just not going to throw down the cash for Bryson at 7.5 to 1 or whatever he ends up being, then just, play the long shots. It's going to be a weird week. It's going to get squirrely, when you got a winning score total projected around 24 under. So be ready for that. Be ready for the variance. You can either avoid it or you can kind of lean into it a little bit. Should be a fun week. We'll be back next week for the John Deere. You got the Open Championship a couple weeks from now, the season's final major, and then it's really going to ramp up for the FedEx Cup playoffs. So the Tour Junkies will be here. Give the DraftKings YouTube channel a subscribe. Hit the thumbs up button on this video if you don't mind, and comment. Who's your favorite long shot? Who's your favorite long shot to close the door here? Give us one name. Who do you like? And let's all get some green screens over there on DraftKings. Thanks for watching the Tour Junkies After Dark presented by DK Sportsbook. May your screens be green. See ya. Out.